Hey guys, awesome to be able to bring a word of encouragement to you today. I'm reading this morning from the book of Romans, and it's chapter 8, verses 14 to 17. It says, "For all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. So you have not received a spirit that makes you fearful slaves. Instead, you received God's Spirit when He adopted you as His own children. Now we call Him Abba, Father. For His Spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. And since we are His children, we are His heirs. In fact, together with Christ, we are heirs of God's glory." Now, during the week, I received a clip of my daughter, who is a youth leader down in Adelaide, and they've opened up their youth group. So she was sharing with her youth group and actually sharing her testimony. It really brought tears to my eyes. This is our youngest daughter, who was 24 on the weekend. And as many of you know, we didn't give birth to her. She came to us when she was 8. So that's 2/3 of her life that she's been with us. But in her testimony, she was sharing with the young people there that the first 8 years of her life were quite horrific. She was born into a totally dysfunctional family. Her mother had many kids to many different dads. And Kelly was brought up around drugs, around alcohol. Her mother was a drug addict and different things. And even before she came to us at the age of 8, she'd been in a number of foster families. And then she talks in her testimony how when she came into this family, it was as foreign for her as anything she had ever experienced in her life. Because all of a sudden she came into this family who were loving, but most importantly, who were church going. And so she said it became a way of life for her, going to church. And she just thought, well, that's what the family does. And so would enjoy church and would enjoy going to kids ministry, and then in her early years going to youth. But she said there came one day when she was sitting in church and she was listening to her father preach, and he was talking about God's love. And she said for the first time, she was actually able to understand love, because until she had come into our family, she didn't understand love. And it took her many years of being in the family to really know what love was. That if you did something wrong, the family didn't kick you out or belt you or whatever. But she said because of the love of the family, she was then able to understand the love that God had for her. And she was able to ask God into her life that day. Instead of just walking on the family's faith, she came and owned her own faith. Now, a couple of years ago, she was up here and she was going through quite a few things in her life. And I remember one day sitting with her. She was crying as we were sitting out on the landing and just trying to work through some stuff. And I said to her, "Sweetheart, you are a Saldana girl. You mightn't have been born of Dad and I, but you have the same spirit that the Saldana girls have. And the Saldana girls are resilient. The Saldana girls are strong. The Saldana girls know that the purposes and the outworkings of God in their life will be fulfilled. And that's the same spirit you have, Kelly. So while you're not flesh of my flesh or bone of my bone, you are of the same spirit." And that's exactly what God is talking about when He comes and says that He adopts us into His family. Let me read a second verse to you from 1 John chapter 4 and verse 13. It says, "We know that we live in God and God lives in us. We know this because God gave us His Spirit." And as much as what we've understood with Kelly, and she's doing so well in life, and we're so proud of who she has become. But it's taken time for her to understand the family's culture and the family spirit, and she's able to work through that. And it is the same with us. You know what? I have the Spirit of God in me. I have the Holy Spirit walking with me, beside me every day to help me be successful in everything that God has called me to do. And so as we go into our week, let's be so aware of that. We've been adopted into God's family. We are now carrying His Spirit inside of us. And His Spirit is one of strength, is one of overcoming, is one of gratitude and joy. Let's understand we have the fruits of the Spirit in our life, and let's outlive them as we go through our life, and particularly in this week. God bless you guys, and praying you have the most awesome week. Bye.